Engine 1 from Car 1. Car 1's on scene at Subin Command. Give me a CAN report.
Welcome, everybody. It's Stickers from the CAN Report. Mike Goldstein. I have a great program for you today. I am with my F.O.O.L.S brothers, the Old South F.O.O.L.S from Mississippi. I have Jake, Travis, and Evan. And they're going to be joining us and talking about the Old South F.O.O.L.S, what they have going on in Mississippi, and what inspired them to develop the Old South F.O.O.L.S. If you haven't, please subscribe, like, check out the CAN Report. Let me know that you're listening. It helps a lot. So if you see that subscribe button, click on it. Lets me know if I'm doing good things or not. So welcome to the program. Guys, thank you for being on the CAN Report. How are you?
Good. Glad to be here.
All right. Glad to have you guys. I met these guys in Maine at Wells, Maine at the Northeastern Fire Summit, and they were actually a hit. We had dudes from Mississippi in Wells, Maine, and everybody had a lot of fun with them. They were a blast, and it was absolutely a privilege and a pleasure to meet these guys. They are so excited about the fire service. They're so excited about being full members, and I just had to get them on the show so they can talk about what they're doing down in Mississippi. Guys, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So obviously I'm not going to read 3 separate bios, so I figure you guys can introduce yourselves. So we're going to start with Evan.
Thanks for having us, brother. Just a quick background on myself. Been in the fire service for 13 years now. Met my brothers here at Corinth. We all work together here, which is our local city career department. Worked there for 7 years, made my way up to lieutenant, and I'm now the county fire coordinator that oversees our volunteer departments, as well as the EMA director here locally. So that's just a quick background, as well as an adjunct instructor for the Mississippi State Fire Academy. So
wow, that's a lot. You're doing a lot, man.
A little bit.
just a tiny bit. Jake, tell us about yourself.
My name is Jacob McVeigh. I started firefighting in 2018 out of Boonville, Mississippi, Boonville Fire Department. I served there for about 4 years and joined on at Corinth, where I worked with Evan and Travis. Worked there for a while. Ended up moving out to Oxford to work out there for a couple of years, and I'm now serving the county, Lafayette County, Mississippi, which is the county that surrounds Oxford as a driver. I love it. Nothing like it.
Are you saying Boone Bay?
Boonville.
Boonville. B-O-O-N, Boonville?
Like Daniel Boone.
All right, cool. Okay. And Travis, my friend.
Yeah, man. So I started out at Corinth around 2015, 2016. I'm going on 9-ish years in the fire service. I've kind of bounced around a little bit. I spent about 3.5, 4 years there. I moved to the coast of Mississippi. Yeah, we do have a coast. Small. A lot of people don't know that. But, yeah, I spent about 4 years down there, a couple departments, kind of rounding out there. Met my wife. She's a nurse up here. Moved back to the area and now working at South Haven, Mississippi. Some people are probably not familiar with it. We're just south of Memphis on the line. So it's kind of a mix of like urban, suburban area. It's pretty. We got 5 stations. We run 2 true truck companies, 5 engines, and 5 ambulances. So
wow.
Decent size department without a whole lot of big department type of stuff. But yeah, father of 1. I've got a 8-month-old at home. The wife was cool enough to let me on dad duty for a couple of hours out here and hop on here. But yeah, man, super excited to be here. We had a great time in Wells, hanging out with everybody. It was cool being in the hospitality suite.
Yeah, you guys did good. You guys took full advantage of the hospitality suite, so I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. Great. It's a pleasure to have you guys on. Really is. I think we developed a quick friendship as soon as I met you guys. I loved hanging out with you, and I loved the passion and energy you have for the fire service and what we're doing up here. And I was so curious what you guys are doing down there. So you just started the Old South F.O.O.L.S chapter.
December 2023.
Okay. And what sparked that?
Well, we all took a trip. Evan, he had sent me a message about a conference that was coming up in the year in a town called Hammond, Louisiana, Small Town Fools. They had their, I guess their banner conference, as you'd call it, their big one, small town Jawtown. And we all decided to take a trip. Several of us loaded up and went down there, and man, we just had the time of our lives. With the Fools, as many people know that are familiar with it, we have a great network. World-class speakers often have a soft spot for the Fools. They turn up and turn out for these events. And, guys I've grown up watching in the fire service on YouTube videos of them speaking, teaching different things, are just right there, and everything's so accessible. And, I called Evan after we got back. I said, man, we got to make this happen. There's no reason we can't have what these people have back home. We need to find a way to make it happen. And that's really the spark down there. Sam Sparicello, one of our great friends, he's helped us out a lot. Shout out to him. But that was kind of the spark that led us on was being around other Fools.
So being around a core group of guys that really care about training, brotherhood, making the fire service better. Because that's kind of like the Fools credo, right? Is we're here for everybody, brotherhood, sisterhood. We're here for training. We're here for betterment of the fire service. And it's not even training, right? It's like just having people to rely on, that core group of people that really want to be a part of it, pay that membership, and know that they're getting people they can actually reach out to if they need to call, text, email. They'll come and help out. And so you guys started developing that. How difficult was it to develop your chapter where you're at?
I mean, it was very well welcome. I'll say that from the start, we had a great turnout, and I believe, I started out in the volunteer service, and I believe our area was hungry for something like that, and we have a great shout out to our volunteer guys up here in North Mississippi. They've kind of welcomed that idea with open arms, and really took on those values of the Fools, and they really made it easy on us, just to put it on the table. There wasn't just a whole lot of pushback or anything like that. The departments we've worked for and still work for and work with were very accommodating and open to, hey, look, come use our facilities. Whatever you need, we'll help you out. And the people just, our brothers and sisters, they showed up, and as you say, the race started, and we're still running it. So.
That's awesome. And that's what's great about the Fools too, is it's a career, it's volunteer. They're not discriminating on what you have a label on for your fire service. As long as you have that card carrying member of a Fools brother or sister, you're good to go. So how did you meet Rusty Ricker?
Well, as many things go, you get started with a head full of steam, you're ready to get rolling. We've got our e-board down. We've hosted small training events, something like that. And then I saw the post for the Fools International Convention. I'll go ahead and say it. Advice for anyone looking to start a new chapter. That is the single thing that will change the trajectory of getting off the ground as a Fools chapter. I ended up having to go down by myself, but, I gritted my teeth and dealt with it. Made the drive down to Baton Rouge. And didn't know anybody, I'll be honest. But I started my handshaking and, stumbled upon Rusty and the guys, and they've been nothing but hospitable to me, taking great care of me. I was kind of under their wings, the whole time, just bugging them, asking them questions, saying, hey, how do you do this? What's your guys' stance on this? How do you hold your meetings? How do you do this? Every time, just answer. And it was such a blessing to meet guys of that caliber, like Joe and Greg and Rusty and Dana. I'm able to make these great friends with these well-established men in the industry, and it really just speaks to the heart of the Fools, where we come in and we're all brothers.
Yeah.
Division chiefs of major metropolitan areas. Talking to just hillbillies from Mississippi. Just clueless. But they've really helped us out, and we love them dearly. Glad to call them friends. Glad to be called a friend by them.
Yeah, they're good, solid people. I've reached out to Rusty for advice on many things, and he's given me advice. And it's great to have that connection and to help the Fools grow into what they are today. I mean, he's the old school, one of the OGs, and it's really cool to have him back you guys and have him take you under his wing, like you said. It's especially such a big conference like that. I've never been, but I hope to make it one day. But I hear great things about it, and it is a huge event, and it can definitely be intimidating when you don't know people. That speaks a lot in your caliber too, to be like, hey, I want to do this, and there's no better way than to go to this conference and start shaking hands and networking. And that's what a lot of these conferences we go to is, yeah, we're learning stuff, but the networking is top notch. Like FDIC, it just came from there, right? Like the networking is second to none. F.O.L.S chapter meetings, same thing. Like when you go to these conferences, the people that you meet and they're all there for one mission, which is super cool. Like you don't have to guess, like, why are you here? Like, you go to some places like, why are you here? Like, no, I'm here because I'm a firefighter and I want to learn. I want to have fun. So I either want to drink some beer, eat some pizza, and learn some shit. So it's pretty cool to be able to meet people with the same caliber. So you obviously impressed Rusty enough where he's like, dude, come up to Wells, Maine and check out what we're doing up here. How cool is that?
It's really a high honor. I don't want to put too high of a premium on it, but there's a huge need for training, for culture, for just togetherness in our area. And I just put it on the line. I try to be a sincere person. To me, that's the highest virtue that someone can hold, is to be who they say they are.
Yeah.
I told them, I just said, hey, we're struggling a little bit. We're trying to get in there, trying to get all the folks in our area turned on, so to speak, to show them it's more than a job, to kind of come in on the heels of some of our mentors that have taught us and invested in us, and things that we needed to learn. They went out and come back and provided us with the knowledge that they went out and sought. But honestly, I just tried to be as sincere as I could be, in the situation. But to me, that's how I try to be. But they're very kind, and they honored us with having us up.
Yeah, we could all tell that you were just, all of you guys were very honored and privileged to be there. You guys were super polite, but super into it. Everything that you guys did, you're just like, I want to take it all in. I mean, you guys went to Boston, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You caught, and that was on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
So that was your first St. Patrick's Day in the city of Boston, right? How cool was that?
Definitely a trip.
It was cool. We checked out a firefighter's bar down there, an Irish bar. Ended up running into some of the guys, drill guys from I think San Jose, some California departments, some other departments. It was cool. We had a good time.
It's interesting to see all those guys, out celebrating their Class A's, having a great time. And
wow.
Just the culture, the energy's there no matter where you are. But
Yeah.
It was special.
That's cool. I'm so glad you guys got to enjoy that part too. Like you didn't just like take off right after that. I'm so happy to hear that you guys went to Boston, took it all in. That's what it's all about, is enjoy all parts of it. And that is super cool to be able to take that experience back home and tell everyone about that. What did you get out of the Northeastern Fire Summit? What were some of your highlights? We had a lot of great speakers. We had Clyde Gordon, Maddie Johnson, Paul Combs, Eric Hankin. What was some of the things that you took away from that?
I'll hit on that real quick. For me, obviously the first thing is the knowledge, from the content and things from fantastic, phenomenal speakers. But in addition to that, just and I know we keep talking about it, is the culture. We have a lot of great people here in North Mississippi, and like I said, they are hungry and they want that. But to see that many people from that region show up, and everybody was one giant family, everybody was there for the same reason, it was fantastic. And it was like, hey, if these guys can do this here, we can do this where we're from. And that was probably the biggest takeaway for me was there's hope, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
To put it that way.
Yeah, I definitely I thought it was interesting. You watch shows and being kind of alienated from that area. You know, we think New York, Boston, all those places. We think big departments, good staffing and stuff. But just talking to some of the guys from some of the non-big departments around there, seeing like guys running 3-man companies with next dues 10 minutes out, and seeing even though it's a different area, but it's very similar to what we do.
Yeah.
Where you know everyone everywhere is doing more with less, and it's not just us. And that's where we've kind of found our niche and try to fall in there with training is and tailor it to what we're doing here, because we don't have a lot of career departments. Most of our state is pretty rural. These guys don't have the money to take off from their 9 to 5 to go to New England Training Summit, to go to FDIC, to go to firemanship and get reps in and get this knowledge. They're blue collar guys trying to put food on the table and then be good firemen for free. And that's really one of our main missions, is to get that quality training to these guys and make it as easy as we possibly can. Like, we had our spring training event a couple weeks ago, and we had I think we had about 60 people show up, and I would say a majority of those guys and gals were volunteers coming on their own time, spending time on their Saturday, and after working who knows how many hours that week, out there in the heat and getting reps in, and everyone was there. They weren't running through everything once. You know, everyone was there getting reps in, taking it in. That was awesome to see.
And I'd probably say that out of our spring training, like, over a majority of those was probably less than 1 year in the service.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which was fantastic to see.
Seeing new guys
to show up,
cool.
that they want that. And just to add to the conference there, you know, another takeaway for me was firemen are firemen regardless of where you go. I mean, we sat at the table and they picked on us, you know, who put the Canadians and the Mississippi guys together. And shout out to those guys. I think we made some lifelong friends there. But it just goes to show you, it doesn't matter whether you're East Coast, West Coast, North or South, firemen are firemen. And that was real refreshing to see that as well.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
What they said, and also, you know, the accessibility of it, which is something that, again, I'll touch on with the pools. That's kind of a hallmark of every pools conference I've been to, is just the accessibility. It's a very well curated event. They worked hard at it for a long time. I mean, the vendor atmosphere was great. The lineup of speakers was just outstanding. You know, it wasn't 10 guys talking about the same thing. You know, you got Maddie out there talking about mental health. You've got Paul Combs talking about his life experience. It was just a great time. And everyone was so accessible. Like Travis said, I mean, you know, how many times do you get to, you know, hang out with people that, you know, you otherwise would never get the chance to talk to? Especially, you know, heroes in our book, guys, again, we watch on YouTube. So, good time.
Absolutely. And what's cool too is they had those tracks split up too. So you had like officer type tracks. So you had Christopher Gray talking, and you had, you know, he was doing speeches or presentation about EV emergency calls, and you know, you had Aaron Haller speaking as well, and you know, there was a lot going on. It was a lot to take in, and it was great over those 3 days just to be able to be around, like you said, close proximity to people that we see as heroes, as these huge pillars in our fire service that have done so much, and you're really sitting around, like you're just sitting on a round table with them. You know, they can't get away from us. You know, there's no hiding for the most part there. So it was really cool to be able to be in close proximity, but to talk to them and ask them ideas. Like you guys, you know, being up in New England, coming from Mississippi, you get to bend their ear and ask them all these things without having to pay a crazy fee, and without having to really you know, try to split the crowd to go find them and talk to them. Sometimes that's the really hard part too, is, you know, that's why I love the small conferences, because those people that you want to see and you really want to talk to because you want to get advice from them, it's really hard to sit them down, because you know, you've got hundreds of people that all are just, you know, elbowing each other to get close to them, to talk to them, or it's a bar atmosphere, and it's really difficult to talk to these people when you have music blaring and you have 100 people in that room and everyone's drinking and being loud, and all you want to do is talk about tactics or other kind of ideas, and you can't. You're like, what so it's cool to be in that environment, and you guys really got to see that firsthand. And again, it's a blessing that I got to go to it and be invited to go to that, and to be able to meet you guys and bend your ears of what you're doing in Mississippi. And what I liked about you guys as well is what really caught me is the questions that you asked were really great questions. And you guys are speaking honestly too, is that, hey, we have a good culture, but we're behind, and that we're still learning as we're going. And we like to know what you guys are doing, because we know we're lacking in certain areas. And what do you guys do on these trucks? Or what do you do for RIT? Or what do you do for engine ops? Like we know we can be better, and that's why we're here. And I love that you guys are open and honest. Like, you're not saying that we're bad, but you're saying, I know we can do and improve on what needs to be done so we can be better firefighters for our communities.
Absolutely. It's a responsibility, being able to not only start something like this, but to have the privilege to manage something like this. You're not only curating activities and philanthropy work and things like that, but you get the chance to be an ambassador for your state, your region, your community, and go and learn and ask these questions. I mean, we owe a debt to our members, the people that trust us to be able to put things together for them to ask these questions, to find the most material and relevant, applicable, practical skills that we could bring back home to them. So it's a huge blessing. And it's also, I think if you keep the right mindset about it, you can do a lot of good.
Absolutely. I love it. And so you have your membership, you started in 2023. How large is your membership right now?
I think we've got
In the 70s.
something
Wow.
like that. Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah. It's growing.
60, 70-ish.
We had a surge with our spring training, new faces coming in, things like that. We're still figuring some things out. Trying to get a Google Doc together to handle our membership. It's, a little messy in some places, but, like I said, we're figuring it out as we go.
Sure.
We went from like our start off event with maybe 20-ish
20, 30.
people, and then over a period of a few months, it just drastically increased. So now we're trying to kind of catch up, so to speak, to be able to accommodate, more people and make us more accessible as far as, like Jacob said, the membership process and things like that. So we're working through those kinks right now to nail those things down.
That is fantastic. That's still strong numbers for starting out in 2023, though. 70 members so far. That you guys are doing something right, and obviously your group that is signing on realizes that the benefits are out there, and it's going to help make them better at their job and keep that passion alive. And you talked about your spring training. What did you guys do for that?
Yeah, so it was really a lot of basic firemanship stuff. We had it works pretty good with these with different skill levels and stuff. Everyone's pretty close across the board, but we usually rotate through some stations. So we had 4 stations. Jacob was teaching victim drags, primary search. We had Evan on VES search, and then I was heading up some forcible entry. That was a good time. People were having fun with that. As always, everyone loves the doorman. And then we had a couple of guys come help out from some other areas that came and taught some nozzle forward-ish type stuff, some hose management, some nozzle management, as well. We made sure we want to stress hose management for the backup guy. We felt like that gets looked over a lot.
Sure.
So, yeah, it was a great time. We were able to kind of tailor to the groups how high paced we wanted to have it, but I think it went well.
It was a huge blessing to have the turnout we did. We even had junior firefighters, day one guys, never been under any heat or smoke, running search patterns through the heat building.
Wow.
It was something. We're glad to be able to pass some things forward that we've been taught by our mentors. You know, we were lucky enough to have the mentorship of some guys, some local guys from LLC Dixie Firemanship. You know, we worked at Corinth Fire Department with Michael Taylor. He's now a captain there. He was my lieutenant at the time. And I've worked under people like Jesse Clark as a training officer, my training officer now, Jamie Phillips, you know, guys across our state like Michael Hogan and
Chris Duncan.
Chris Duncan, absolutely. Driving us forward, you know, teaching us these things, going out to these classes like nozzle forward, and, you know, kind of bringing that home to us and making it applicable. You know, like I said, we're coming in on their heels.
Sure.
And try to honor them as best as we can and the effort that they put forward. With the Fools, we have a way to deliver it, you know, that's not dependent on the progress of any one department. One of our biggest struggles that we face, I'm sure it's no uncommon thing to departments elsewhere, is not every idea is going to land. And, you know, it may take you 5 years to get something as simple as a new hose load or a different nozzle package. You know,
I hear you on that.
Worked under these guys and, you know, watched their frustration and, you know, going back on how we got started, you know, that was just the fire in our gut, just watching them, you know, wanting to beat their head against the wall for not being able to affect the kind of change they know is possible. Mm-hmm. We're able to circumvent a lot of the departmental, I don't know a good word for it, without being vulgar.
Red tape. We'll use that.
We call it red tape. But, you know, we're able to kind of sort of fly under our own banner, so to speak. We're not doing anything groundbreaking or incredibly dangerous. And again, these are old Tactus U guys, smoothbore nozzles, Minuteman hose loads. But to us, I mean, you know, we're it's not our goal to tell people they're doing it right or wrong, but to be able to provide them with more
sharing the gospel, so to speak.
We believe in data-driven decision making.
Yeah, you're sharing the wealth. It's another tool for the toolbox. When I'm teaching, the biggest thing I always tell people is I'm showing you a way. It's not the way. And for all the training I've gone to, which I love to go and I continue to go, you always say in the fire service, like we didn't come up with it. We stole it from somebody else, you know, and we're not labeling our own. But when I go to a training conference and if I learn from Rob Ramirez, I bring it back home and I'll say, I learned this from Mayday Mindset. And these are the numbers he gave, or this is the tactics and tips that he taught me. So everyone knows where it came from. I just didn't pull out of thin air. And that's what's so great about it, because they didn't package it. They didn't trademark it. They didn't say, you can't bring that back. They're like, no, we want you to bring that back. And going to a lot of these trainings and conferences, like, you know, these guys, these presenters will give you their slides, which is so cool. And again, like for you guys, when you're doing your presentations and you have your Fools meetings, and you guys have your, you can do smaller trainings together as your own Fool chapter. Like the three of you, if you wanted to, if you went to a conference and you got slides from, say, Eric Wheaton, who does C.A.N. Confidence, he literally gives you that slide. You can bring that back to your Fools meeting, and you're having your meeting, whatever the bar or whatever else you're at. You could bring it up in a PowerPoint and say, this is what I learned from Eric Wheaton. Here's his PowerPoint. And you literally can go slide to slide. These guys are going to watch it and thinking, oh my God, this is amazing. How'd you come up with this? But it says Eric Wheaton on there. It says Vent Enter Search, training company. So it's super cool that everybody who teaches gives it back to us. And they want us to continue on to that. So it's so cool. Like you guys can do these trainings. When you go learn somewhere else, they want you to bring that back because they want us all to be better.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, that's been my thing. Like anytime we're working with people, like I let them know, like, get out here if you got something to add to it. Like, I know these guys share the exact same sentiment that we're just here to facilitate something
Absolutely.
for people. There's obviously a need for it, or we wouldn't have the turnouts, the memberships, and show ups like we do. And we're just facilitating something for people, and like that's why we're big. And like Jacob shouted out, kind of the guys that kind of brought us up in the fire service, as well as new people. Is like this is nothing new. This is not anything we came up with or something. But we're just trying to progress kind of the framework that a lot of people have laid out for us.
And personally, I'll speak for myself. I mean, I'm sure the others feel the same way as I'm no one special. As he said, we're merely facilitators. And, for anybody that's listening out there considering doing this, you do not have to be ready. If you wait until you're ready, you'll never do it. You have to be willing. And that's the kicker is you've got to be willing to put in the work, keep the long hours, make the phone calls, go through hundreds of no's to get your yes, stay on top of it. But, nobody from nowhere. But I believe in what we're doing. I've tried to place myself under people smarter than myself, people that know what they're talking about. If I don't know, I'll call somebody. But willingness is the biggest thing.
Yeah. Hard work, man. It pays off. Hard work pays off. So you guys have another conference coming up in October, a small training event, if you will, in October. Was it the 12th?
October 9th through the 12th.
October 9th through the 12th.
9th through 11th. I'm sorry.
9th through 11th.
Okay. October 9th through the 11th. Final answer. October 9th through the 11th.
Sometime in October.
Okay. Now, what's cool about this, I was talking to Jacob about it, and you are giving back. That money is not going into your pockets. It's not even going to the fool's pocket. Where is that money going to?
So this is our second year doing this. We're wanting to keep the energy last year. Last year we had one of our board members, his wife got a particularly grim cancer diagnosis. This is somebody we love very dearly, very close to us. And, we start tossing around ideas. We have a new chapter. We have to be able to do something. We thought about having raffles, fish prize turned into this, that, and the other. And it led to, okay, well, what if we threw a conference? And so about mid-July, we just say, hey, we're doing it. We end up throwing a 4-day conference, 2 days of lecture, 2 days of hands-on.
Nice. I like that.
We had some really good sponsorship. The Gary Sinisi Foundation, they pulled through for us. They were able to cover the cost of our fire conference, our actual needs, our consumables, our venues, our instructor fees, hotels. And we were able to actually donate all of the registration fees to that family. So this year, obviously it went so well, we decided to bring it back. So this year, we're keeping the same energy. We've scaled it down a little. We're doing 3 days this time. But all of our profits this year, we've decided to choose St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital as our beneficiary for our conference.
That's amazing.
Proceeds to them.
That's amazing. Absolutely. St. Jude's, you're giving all the proceeds to them. That's, wow. I love you guys. That is fantastic. Why did you come up with St. Jude's? Was there something that hit home to you guys or something personal?
So, St. Jude's in Memphis, it's not too far from us. But that aside, unfortunately, we've had several children in our area have to go to St. Jude for treatments and things, and it was just almost kind of a no-brainer in some ways. We try to stay within the first responder community if we have somebody going through something, one of our brothers, at the time, but thankfully, by the grace of the good Lord, right now we haven't had anybody that was directly going through anything major. So we're like, hey, how can we keep this benefit conference going and help on a larger scale? And we had a few options, and we landed on St. Jude, and we believe that the money that we're going to raise is going to, have a good impact. So.
Wow. That's you guys are awesome. That is a great benefit. As a great cause. How can you say no to not wanting to go to an event like that? And it seems like when you get your the people who want to participate, they seem to be all for it. Talking to Jacob earlier about that and even just now, you guys said, like, when you guys get these people that come in, there's either first years or seasoned guys, and they just want to put in work. Because I'm assuming there's not a whole lot of conferences nearby you guys, or is there?
There's really not. We've got some that are kind of coming up, but I mean, I'd say the closest major one we have is small town Jobtown, and that's a 6-hour drive ish. We're kind of isolated up here, and it's like back to our needs. So it's certainly going to be a good time.
We definitely want to shout them out. Some planning issues got us back to back. I know we're one weekend and they're the very next weekend, but if you get the chance and you're closer, I would definitely hit them up. Small town Jobtown, they put on an excellent lineup every year. They
That's awesome.
Keep us on our toes, keep us motivated. They're definitely worse neighbors to have.
But if you're in North Mississippi in October, though, we will definitely take your money for children. So just saying.
Do you have a list yet of who is attending or anything you wanted to plug for that?
We might keep that one on wraps right now. We're
Okay.
works on some things there. Hopefully here soon we're going to be releasing some guys that we've got lined up for still in the lecture thing there. So
I think everyone will be pleasantly surprised.
I look forward to it too.
someone very close here may be in
I'm making a period.
my next review. So,
We can go ahead and let the cat out of the bag if you want. But we obviously asked you to join us for our event. We've made good friends, and we'd be glad to
No brainer.
glad to have you down with us to experience our side of the world.
Yeah. I'm excited to go, dude. As I was saying, I had never been to Mississippi before, and I'm excited to be able to get in your guys' neck of the woods. You guys were in my area, so now I get to get out of my comfort zone. And is it hot in Mississippi in October?
bring several changes of clothes and some bug spray.
Well,
So-
shit.
Our region's interesting where we'll have 100 and something index heat during the summer, and it's not rare for us to have in the teens during the winter.
And you all got really big bugs though, too, right?
Hey, look, the wildlife down here will kill you. The weather will kill you.
Our state birds and mosquitoes.
I mean, yeah.
I'm just gonna cuddle up next to Jacob, and I think I'll feel safe. So that's really cool. I love that you guys are in the planning mix. I'm very honored to be a part of it. And as I spoke to Jacob on the phone, anything you guys need from me, I'll do it for you because I love what you guys are doing. The fact that money is going back to St. Jude's, it just shows what the fire service is. It shows what community is, and that you guys get the message, that you guys understand. You understood the assignment. That it's
Means a
right.
lot to your support.
It's not
It really
relevant,
does.
Like, while we're on the topic, if there are any instructors, any guys that are wanting to come out to this to help us
Reach out.
we're still filling billets. Reach out to Jacob. How would you want them to reach out to
You
you?
can reach out through our page on Facebook, Old South F.O.O.L.S. That's probably the easiest way to get to us. But yeah, we've still got some open spots. We're kind of putting things together as we go. New to the whole planning thing. It went well last year. It's going well this year.
That's awesome.
Vendors, if you have a product that you want to have an audience for, we welcome everybody to donate raffle items. Like I said, everything raffle, our door fee, any events that we plan, some of them I think will be open to the general public as well.
That's great.
Trying to work with the city on some things. It's going to be a great time. I know last year we tried to do a social event, brotherhood event, every night. The food's going to be great.
Shout out to our other member, Worley. He's the fourth tire on our truck. So
Yeah, I'd like to give him a particularly big shout out. He's
for sure.
handled planning a local conference here for the last several years, training at the Crossroads. Our guys from around here will know the one we're talking about, but he's definitely helped me on with some of the logistics of getting this figured out. It's a big job, and we couldn't have done it without him. He's just not really into the whole thing. But
Now, where do you do the conference? Would you have a bigger training grounds? And are they pretty cool with what you got going on?
Yeah, so we host it here in Corinth. Now we have talked about future expansion, maybe some other places in North Mississippi, but last year and this year it will be here in Corinth, which is about 2 hours from Memphis, right on the Alabama-Tennessee line up there. We're hosting it at our Corinth training facility here. And our lectures, we're still tossing around some different locations to best fit, our conference needs. So we're still working on pinpointing the lecture location down. So.
right.
That's great. And I want to touch on too, like Jacob and I were talking earlier, and you were talking about certain instructors, certain things you could benefit from. Again, you were talking about like your RIT culture is a little bit, for lack of better words, lacking right? And you want to develop on that. So we're talking about instructors. We're also talking about some other techniques, and we're talking about Eric Wheaton's course, the C.A.N Confidence course. And maybe if he watches this, maybe he'll be inclined to reach out. But as we were talking about that and how important it is to actually have a culture with truck culture or search culture, and even your engine work and the C.A.N work as well. Your story kind of really, I still was thinking about that today. And would you want to talk about that real quick about why you think it's important to have a C.A.N with you when you're doing your searches?
Absolutely. That's just one I tell. It was, like I said, we got a call in the middle of the night. Hear the tones go off. My bedroom was right by the bay. The tone drops on the bay and the living area at Corinth Station 3. When it's your tone, it drops in your bed hall. So we're pre-dispatched. Our dispatchers know our response to districts typically. It came out as smell of smoke, not directed at us. And I said, hey, we're supposed to be going on smell of smoke, right? And they're like, yeah. And then boom, tone upgrades. So we're all super happy to do it. Of course, everybody knows the sentiment. We get a worker, everybody's hooting, hollering, throwing their turnout gear on, getting ready to go. We're sitting in the back of the truck, riding along, bouncing along, and comes across, engine 3, you've got searched. And we love to search. This is something that I've got a passion for, thanks to my lieutenant Michael Taylor at the time. He was showing us the finer points of searching, things like that. But most people, when they think water can around here, they're thinking, oh, R&C, just going in, put out the trash can, walk back out. But that night I really learned the importance of searching, especially ahead of the hose line with a can. And we go in on an oriented search. I brake right, the rest of my crew brakes left. I find the fire room, and shout out, I found the fire room. My eyes equalize, and I find the victim. And this woman is on a couch. The whole room is just completely just on fire from the carpet to the ceiling. I try my best to move this couch. It's a wire frame at this point. It was a recovery, but to pull it out to where I could remove her body, but not having that can, I couldn't make that little hit and get her out. I actually had to pull my lieutenant in. He grabbed her. I grabbed his coattail and guided him out. But I saw some pretty nasty burns off of that one. But that was a big one for me, is making sure that you grab that can.
Yeah. And now you were the initial primary search team?
That's right.
And it sounds like you did a split search?
Oriented search. We had our lieutenant orient us, but
okay.
Tomatoes.
Okay. I get you're just in the same room, but you just went right and they went left. Gotcha. Right. Okay. That's an amazing story. And that's a lot what the C.A.N Confidence course talks about, is the use of that can, and make sure that, you're bringing that in, not just your smells and bells, but actually bringing it into your search, your primary searches. You encounter fire, you can knock that back, reset it a little bit, wet the door, close it, and continue on with the search. And that is a great story, and that's what it's about. And I those are the kind of teachings that is so beneficial that we continue to have. And again, that's not just an Eric Wheaton thing. That's an everyday thing. That's for all of us to learn. It's nothing new. And he's made it very clear. It's nothing new. It's just, he realized there's a need for it because we don't talk about it enough. We don't do it enough. And your story, that's a perfect training right there. And you have that personal experience that you can conduct that training. Here's the reason why I do this all the time. I mean, that's what's so great about, it's not just fools, it's all of us as the fire service, and all of our experiences comes down, it incorporates training. You now know that I'm going to train on this, and hopefully other people will understand that the importance of, like your officer talked about the importance of training, of searching and making sure that, you have right patterns and what to look for. And you knew the benefit of bringing a can, and it paid dividends for you. I love it. And
for sure.
I think that's so cool. And you guys are hard workers down there. And I'm so excited to see what you guys have for departments and gear and the whole culture of it. So you have your conference that you're obviously working diligently on in October. What else do you guys have working on? Like, what do you guys do for the Fools? Besides building this conference, what else are you doing?
Go ahead. One of our big focuses we particularly want to be known for is philanthropy. We need a network. particularly where we are. You can't believe everything you read in the papers, but Mississippi, the area we serve, is a particularly impoverished area. Our departments, the pay is abysmal. It can vary from $20,000 to $30,000 from just 2 hours across the top of our state, and salary. Um, but that being said, most of our guys, they have 2 or 3 jobs, and they're fighting to make ends meet in a lot of these departments, places like that. Just aside from the whole firefighting and training concern, when they get into trouble, if you don't have money, you don't have good insurance.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys, they've been falling through the gaps for a long time. Again, talking about the responsibility we owe them is, the area we serve, we want to make sure that we can do our best to catch them, whether it's a mental health crisis, whether it's the sickness of a loved one, whether it's, one of our brothers. We lost one of our brothers to a mental health issue earlier in the year, and things like that. We're always on the lookout to raise some money just to try to show our support. But one, because it's the right thing to do. That's a big tenet of the Fools, DTRT, do the right thing, but also, to let them know we're here for them, and to spread the word. We will all benefit from this. This is our thing. This is not my thing or Evan's thing or Travis's thing. It's our thing. This is our net. This is our network. This is our training, our brotherhood. Chance to get out of the house, talk to the guys instead of driving our wife crazy about things.
Shout out to them, by the way, too.
For sure.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it without the wives.
And that's I mean, you hit a good point too on the wives. Like, I think without them, we'd be nothing. When we're playing cowboy, they got to take care of the house and they got to take care of the kids. And, but then they're going to also have to take care of us when we come home and, either complaining about the call we just went on or complaining about leadership or complaining about somebody else who wasn't, towing the line and wasn't putting in the work. And, they're pretty much our rocks. And what I liked about, and I wasn't sure if you guys would do it or think about incorporating it, is that's another thing I liked about the Northeastern Fire Summit was they had a wife track. So they had wives that came and they did a workshop for the wives. And, it was, Nick McCullough, he's on in Manchester. He just got captain and his wife does a great job with also trying to incorporate wives. And she had a track up there that the wives could all get together and talk about mental health and talk about some other things as well. And that's really important to involve our spouses to let them know about that they also have the right to mental health, help as well. That because we're unloading on them, who do they unload on? And it's super important to be able to have them talk about their problems, and they're not going to talk about with us because they don't want to bother us. It's that vicious cycle. So that's what I like about a lot of these conferences. And the Fools did a great job with that at the summit. Was wives, come over. We're gonna have a cocktail hour. We're gonna have mimosas, and we're gonna talk about all the stuff that you got going on.
Yeah, we are talking about having a spouses track at our conference
this year. It's in the works. We're
cool.
We've never done it before. Again, we're new to this, but
Yeah.
we've got some good folks that have our backs. And like you said, I mean, it's not easy loving men like us. You don't always get to choose what affects you. Sometimes your eyes see something and it's stored in here until one day it just creeps up on you.
Yeah.
Your emotions can slingshot, not to mention the hours we keep, the volunteer pager going off in the middle of the night, begging, "Hey baby, can I go help out?" And it's wild, but there's no other job like this. And for them, there's really, it's
home life
very unique
doesn't
experience.
stop,
Yeah. Now, what do you guys work for hours down there? What's your schedules like?
Kind of all over the place.
Okay.
Like I've worked all of them. I've been around several places just as career backstep guy so far. But so I currently work the modified Kelly or Memphis swing, you call it. So we work 24 hours. I work on, and then I'm off for 4 days.
Okay.
Me personally, I started out with a 24/48, one full day on, 2 days off. But as I moved out and, moved my work out to Lafayette County, they work a 48/96. I love it. 2 days on, 4 days off. I get time to get things done at the house. A couple days a week I'll watch the kids and we get time to play and things like that. But It's
Sure.
not like you're just there and coming straight back home.
And then when I was with Corinth, which they just swapped to 48/96, but it was 24/48. But I'm just an old office guy now, 9 to 5, unless the tones go off, and then we're running down the road. But
We Evan also, I'd like to add in, he was one of the people that created our special operations response team for all Corn County.
Wow.
I got to give him big props on that. It basically how it works is, when our volunteer departments they have a structure fire or they have need of a tech rescue, missing persons, anything like that. Several of us have signed up to live in the area to back them up on it, and it's really cool to be able to work hand in hand with them, to train with them. But this man wears more hats than anybody I know. But
Wow. That's
another
impressive.
To the lore.
Now, so all you guys are on career departments and volunteer departments?
I'm only on career.
Okay.
My career, I part-time as needed at a few departments I've worked for, and then I do the sort with Evan when I could get down here.
yeah, and I'm not on a career department anymore. Just to give you a little background, we have 9 volunteer departments in our county, and my job is to just assist them in their state compliancy stuff and assist them with any training needs they may have, and kind of a visionary aspect, so to speak. We have I'm going to shout out to all my chiefs right now. We have a great chiefs board. I can't speak highly enough of them. That are really out there wanting to progress. We have 9 individual departments, but we all kind of work as one department.
Mm-hmm.
We all come to the table and, hey, what can we do to make the county fire service better? And that's kind of my job. And I say 9 to 5. It's really not 9 to 5. It's really all the time. And that's kind of my role right now in the fire service.
Don't let him downplay that. It's a huge thing. And I don't know how it is with the rest of the country, but I know 80% of Mississippi's fire service is volunteer. And
Wow.
I'm lucky I get to work for a county agency, Lafayette County. They're doing a phenomenal job. I have to shout them out. Rapid growth. But they're having these great ideas, but they're able to implement them. For the most part, a lot of counties like Prentice County, where I grew up, Boonville, we have several just semi-independent departments that fall under one blanket, just like it does in Alcorn County. And it's a big job keeping up with everybody and keeping everybody on the same page. So
It sounds like it.
If it was one department combined, we'd have about 250 personnel.
Wow.
And that's not counting our special operations unit, which is, like I mentioned, I'm also EMA director. That's housed out of our EMA office. That covers those aspects like Jacob was talking about. So
that's what I noticed is the South really works really well with everybody. From like when I went down to Georgia, it was like all counties work with each other. They all know each other. And it's really cool to see that partnership to get the job done. Everybody gets to go to fires and have fun. But it's really like you guys talk about all the fires you go to, because like for me, like we don't go unless we're called specifically for mutual aid. Like we have automatic aids, but it's not like the county's being called over to the next one. We can hear everything blowing up, but if we don't get toned if it's not big enough, we're not going, because those bigger cities can handle it. But it's just so cool to see how the counties, especially in your guys' area, all work together, and you guys are all playing nice in the sandbox and getting work done, and it's about protecting others. And that's really cool to see. And that's what I noticed when I went to Bears of the Oath. Like I couldn't figure out how everyone knew each other, but it was all because they're all counties involved and stuff, and they all go to the same thing, and they all go to the same trainings. That's it's so cool to see that, and it's an eye-opening experience. And that's like that big culture change is like for us in New Hampshire or even New England, we don't do a lot of that. It really is just kind of, we stick in our own little box and we do our own little thing, and occasionally we'll do some training with some people in the neighboring towns, but Some departments are trying to do better with that. My department, we're doing better with that, of training with other area departments. But sometimes you won't see other guys for quite some time unless it's a big event, and then we'll talk for 5 minutes before we go in and do some work. But so I love too, you guys have a really, I love the fact that you have on your board, you have volunteer, you have career, you have a good mixture of guys. So it's not just one professional or say one class that's dealing specifically with this. Like, you guys know what's all involved and what the people are needing in your Fools chapter.
And that's something, and you can ask these guys and really anybody that's taking a class with me. That's one of the main things that I always preach and that we always preach is we're not career and volunteer. We're firemen. You know, because at 3 o'clock in the morning, the lady that's screaming in the yard that her kids are still inside this house doesn't care whether you're getting paid $100,000 a year or you're doing this on your free time. They just want somebody to go in and help them on their worst day.
100%.
And that's what we're all about. We don't get into the whole career versus volunteer squabble. And we really try to
Just nip
that in the bud. If we see it starting out in anything that we're involved with, we just gently remind folks that's not what we're here for. That's not a part of our organization.
And again, like we said, 80% of our state's fire service is volunteer.
Yeah.
And something that you talked about, it's very different in the Northeast. You can throw a rock and be in another career district. Down here, our county seat, which is basically the big city inside the county, is typically going to be your only career agency. And you might have 30 minutes between you and your next career department.
Wow.
And that's being generous. We're very blessed up here, but we rely on them. And like Evan was saying, they don't care, but they expect SEAL Team 6 to drop out of the sky, and that's why it's so important that we want to take these guys with us and encourage them to come out instead of letting them get belittled or called a hobbyist. It's a big need for sure.
Yeah, you're absolutely. John Public is not going to know that your tan gear is for career members only, and that black gear is for volunteer only. It's just not the way it works. They see firefighter on the back of your coat, and they see a helmet, and then you're wearing a pack. All they know is that you're supposed to be well trained to go into a building and get the job done, or cut them out of a car, or help with a code. It's all they know is it says EMS or it says fire on there. They don't care what class you are. They just want to make sure you're well trained and you're capable of doing that job. If you got the gear on your back, you should be able to do it, regardless of volunteer career.
Yeah, and we owe the public that,
100%. Yep, absolutely. And I think that's great. You guys are just, again, bringing that all together and really making sure that everybody is all included, and that there is no hierarchy of career and volunteer, that we're all doing the same job. And you guys want to make sure everybody gets trained up and gets the same education. And what you guys are doing down there is fantastic. So anything else you guys got going on? Are you guys traveling anywhere? Do you have any plans? I know, like, you got your kid. I know you got an hour. So
You're good. He's in bed now.
Okay.
It's past bedtime. But it was cool. You were talking about the wife's track and stuff like that. Like, I wouldn't be able to do any of the stuff I'm doing if it weren't for my wife. She's a nurse. She works 3 12-hour shifts. We got 8-month-old at home. But you're talking about the wife's courses. Like, she's been my biggest supporter. Like, I mentioned to her that there was a wife's track to firemanship, and she was like, "Oh, can I go?"
Oh, nice.
Yeah, sure. We can go to that. They posted sign-ups that morning. They were selling out. She's calling me, "Hey, I'm gonna put these on the card. They're selling out." And I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead." So she was more excited about firemanship than I am. But
that's awesome.
Going to that, and then I think he just got back from FDIC.
Yeah, that was kind of a bug for me, like we discussed.
Yeah.
But we're all 3 of us in the same boat with the kids. I got a 3-year-old and a 9-month-old at the house. And again, shout out to my wife. Without her, I wouldn't be able to do any of what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
I know Jacob's in the same boat.
Absolutely. We got a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old at home, and they're sometimes, man. Travis and I are both going to firemanship this summer.
That's great.
really looking forward to it.
I've never been to that. That's one of the conferences that's on my bucket list. I haven't been to that yet. That's definitely one up there with me. And you're all reproducing down there, by the way.
We're just blessed, man. The Lord does favor us.
There's not a lot to do down here.
Just making babies. That's super cool. You're right though. Like, my wife, I'm up here talking with you guys, and she's getting things ready for the kids for school tomorrow. And by the time I finish up, she'll probably be laying in bed, and that's her thing. That's our routine. But all the extra projects that we take, all the extra overtime that we take, anything we do extra is because we love the job, but we also care about our families and want to provide for them. And it's super cool to have them have our backs and want us to succeed. And what you guys are doing with taking on this new chapter with the Fools now, since 2023, that's a huge undertaking in itself. It's very time consuming. It's not easy. If anyone's ever looking to start a chapter, you have to do your homework. You have to fill a lot of paperwork. You have to make calls and emails, and there's a lot involved in it. And to step up as an e-board member, is not an easy thing as well. So again, it's time consuming, and if you don't have a strong backing at home, it's not going to make it any easier.
No, definitely not.
Like you said, it is kind of a confusing process a little bit at first, but we're always here to help if there's anybody out there looking to get something going in their hometown. But if we don't have the answers, we've got really good friends that do, like Rusty and the guys in New England. And
that's awesome.
So.
Well, guys, I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate the fact you're giving back to your communities in more ways than one. The fact that you have the Fools chapter now, the fact that you're giving back to St. Jude's, and that you understand the mission, and it's about giving back to all of us and people that need help. And that's such a great thing to see. Mississippi's doing it right. You guys are super cool down there. And I'm excited to meet your hometown. I'm excited to meet all of your members down there. If anybody is looking for information about the Old South Fools or curious about their conference that's going to be coming up in October, you can definitely reach out to them. As Jacob said, you can reach out to them on their social media pages, Old South Fools. They'll get right back to you. They're super cool guys, and very, very humble and down to earth. And actually, what's cool is one of you guys mentioned blue collar, and that's what we are. We're not white collar dudes. We're blue collar, hardworking guys that just care about helping others and making things better than we found it. And I can't thank you enough. And I'm so blessed I got to meet you guys in Wells, Maine, and I have Rusty Ricker to thank for that, because if he didn't invite me, I wouldn't have come up. So I was working that day. I probably wouldn't have been able to make it, but I took it off because I got invited, and I think that is awesome. And I just, I love talking to you guys. I hope to keep talking with all of you. Do you guys have anything like a last statement or message you want to bring to the public before we start closing down here?
Man, shout out to the big guy upstairs, man. We couldn't do any of this without him. So.
Yeah. All right. I love it.
Yeah. Before I forget, we do have 3 sister chapters in the state of Mississippi since our founding now.
Wow.
We've got the Mississippi Mayhem Fools in Northwest Mississippi. We've got the Coastal Magnolia Fools down on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. And then we've got a chapter spinning up in Central Mississippi out of Jackson, around our capital area down there. And I forgot to mention another guy, Dustin Ford. I love you. I didn't forget about you. He's one of our mentors. Been there for us from the very beginning. But it's like Michael said, if any of you guys are interested in coming out and helping out or being involved in some capacity, whether it's a vendor, a donor, a speaker, want to help with hands-on, just hit us up. We're looking to do good work for the kids this October. So but that's all I got. Yeah.
Reach out to any of us anywhere. I'm on social media. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. Reach out to me there. My phone number is 662-284-8220. I think we're all pretty accessible. Whatever you guys need, man, anybody needs, reach out to us.
Fantastic. Love it. Great message. And I always like to make sure that people understand as well that we're all here as a brotherhood and a sisterhood. Mental health, suicide, it's important. It's out there. It's real. We can't ignore it. We can't be ostriches and put our heads into the sand and hope it goes away. If you guys ever need anything, There's the brotherhood out there, and the Fools is one of those brotherhood chapters it's all inclusive. It doesn't matter if you're career volunteer. You guys are all wearing the uniform, and we're here to help you. If you feel you ever need to talk to somebody, I always like to promote Next Rung. Blake Stennett is doing fantastic things for all of us. So if you need someone to reach out to, you can reach out to Next Rung. They're very responsive. They'll get back to you and they'll help you any way they can. Please make sure that you are reaching out to people if you're feeling a certain way. For whatever reason you feel like you want to reach out to me, I'm available. Just like our brothers and sisters and Old South Fools here, the same thing. If any of y'all need help, you make sure you reach out to these fine gentlemen and they'll get you the help that you need. And if you're just looking to talk, we're all available. That's what the fire service is. We give our trainings away when we're here available to help. We're problem solvers. So make sure that you're not making a permanent solution out of a temporary problem. So thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate the Old South Fools. We got Evan, Jacob, and Travis. Solid dudes. October is going to be the Old South Fools Fire Conference. I'm excited to go to Mississippi to sweat and see really big bugs and get some good firemanship going. So you all take care. Be safe. Mazel tov.